Where do we start with that? A 7-goal thriller at St. James's Park? We've got over the line, but I don't know how it's finished at St. James's Park. Newcastle United 4, Nottingham Forest 3, and this is the last word. Yes, welcome back to Newcastle Fans TV. 7 goals. We were 4-1 up, believe it or not. But Newcastle somehow have just scraped over the line against Nottingham Forest. First win over Nuno Santo at St. James's Park, which is...
Well, three wins over Forest this season.
Mental. I don't think many teams will do that this season. Make sure you give this video a like and subscribe to Newcastle Fans TV. But Lee, just before we go on the team news... What's your immediate reaction after that? Because I'm happy, but I'm like a bit angry.
We've got away with one.
Yeah.
We've definitely got away with one. We'll have them probably then some parts of this season where we've come away for ground and probably thought we deserved more, but this is the other way around for me. I think we're very lucky to have 3 points today, 100% we are.
Yeah, I agree, especially with that second half performance. First half, we'll discuss now. Before we do that, team news. Nick Pope getting the nod over Martin Dubravka. Sam and I discussed on the Green and Mulner show on Friday.
Look.
And it was, I actually thought it was going to happen. I'm surprised it didn't happen a bit earlier, not because Dubravka's played poorly. Nick Pope is Eddie Howe's number 1. So if he feels like he's ready to come back in, I can kind of understand that. Midfield, Lewis Miley coming in for Sandro Tonali, who had a bit of a sore thigh. He was on the bench, but he's probably thinking, Joe, well, it was quite lucky to keep his place after last week at Manchester City. What do you make of the team overall?
There's a statement made today. Nick Pope's a cup final keeper.
I don't think that's a major shock, though, is it?
I think because he's played him now, he's going to have that run in of games to the final. So Nick Pope will start the final. I think Dubravka might play the Brighton game. Might.
Got Mr. Banya there.
Joe Willock, you say, is man of the match.
When's your mural coming? When's your mural coming? When's your mural coming? When's your mural coming? See, he's too shy, doesn't want to come on camera. Oh, look at him.
Mike's away as well. Get your hat in.
Get the hat in.
Mike. All right, lads. 380 miles to go. See you soon.
Safe trip. Go and drive all the way down back to Somerset, which is
miles away. Miles and miles. More miles than you.
Yeah, for change.
Yeah, but in terms of the team, obviously, Pope's the keeper that's going to play in the cup final. I don't think that's a major shock.
It's the Miley one I'm happy about because he deserved to start. And I think, I know you'll talk about his goal, but I think he was the one that was the shining light out of a horrible, horrible display against Manchester City. I know you can talk about defeat, and I had a effing and blinding in my car and all that, but I just felt there wasn't enough heart last week, and he was the only shining light. So, yeah, and I expected Livramento to come in for Trippier.
Yeah, that was the other change to be
John
made.
Litton, obviously.
Yeah, John Litton, I think still another week or 2 away.
I want to say hi from Canada.
Oh, nice to meet you. But yeah, after obviously the game started, and Newcastle actually started brightly, and all through the first half, but 4 minutes in, I'm actually saying this is, if you saw this at under 10s, you'd be going, what on earth are you doing? A throw in from Livramento into the path of Murphy. Murphy just don't know what he's done. He tries to clear it. I don't know if he's trying to pass it, but Hudson-Odoi escapes with the ball. You've got to ask questions of the goalkeeper there. His positioning is terrible.
I think there's errors leading up. Look, Murphy, he's quite high up, wasn't he? If I remember rightly, I've remembered one goal. He's quite high up and he's given the ball away, and I think the defence have also got to get out because they're backing off and it's allowed them. I think it's a good finish. Again, I haven't seen any of the goals back, but I think I'll give the attacker the benefit of the doubt.
Nick Pope's, I don't know what his position. He's too far to the other side of his goal. You watch it. Hudson-Odoi, yes, it's a good finish. It's not right in the corner, though. It's a good finish, but it's not right in the corner. I want my goalkeeper saving that if he's in the right position. Just going back onto that goal, do you think it was the fact that Livramento just didn't have any options? Like you could always go long in terms of a throw-in. And if it kind of almost comes from an attack from Forest that way, not that you like it, but it's more understandable. We literally gave them the first goal, Lee.
I think also Murphy's a bit like, and then they've gone and scored. It's hard to pinpoint, was it Livramento? Look, it's Murphy, really. You're saying it's Pope, but I haven't seen it back.
No, it is Murphy mainly, but Pope has to be positioned better.
You've also got to ask the defensive Shane Bird come out because they allowed the curler and it's a shot on the edge of the box. It's a good finish. You're 1-0 down. You're thinking, oh my God, man. It's that. What was it? 6 minutes?
4 or 5 minutes.
4 or 5 minutes. You're thinking,
Newcastle were bright though. Newcastle were bright.
We were, but we're 1-0 down already. Thinking, it can't be 3 in a row that we've lost here.
Yeah. But it was about the retaliation. How are Newcastle going to retaliate? How are they going to get back into the swing of things? And Newcastle were outstanding in that first half. Apart from that error, they were outstanding, particularly on that left-hand side. Lewis Hall, Anthony Gordon, creating a lot of opportunities, having a real go at the fullback, Ola who had a better second half. I actually thought he's not a bad player. I thought he probably better than what I thought he was, if I'm being really honest. But Newcastle were knocking on the door a little bit. You know, they were creating half chances. Murphy having a few crosses on the right-hand side, which just weren't getting a touch, particularly from Isak and Gordon. But the signs were there, Lee, that something may happen. Something was coming.
Yes, and I think in the home, because it feels like ages since we've been here, I think the home crowd obviously deserve a win because we've been put through a couple of horror shows. And you're thinking, if Forest are 1-0 up, you're thinking this could be a third. But yeah, there was a lot of interchange. I thought Lewis Hall was sensational, by the way. I know you'll talk about that later, but I've already got to name it. He's my man of the match, Lewis Hall. I think he was just brilliant. But yeah, there was a slick play, and Isak was involved, Gordon was involved. You're just waiting for that first goal to come. Yeah,
certainly, and it did come eventually.
Loads of them came in the space of
15 minutes.
And really, Johnny, we only played well then. I know you're saying a bit longer, but
I think the first half we were good. You've got to remember, Nick Pope's only really had 2 saves in the first half. One's gone in and one's saved from his own mistake. But apart from that, I thought Newcastle dominated in that first half. You know, Forest didn't know if they were coming or going. Isak was creating, a lot of errors from the Forest defence, and it was just a matter of time if Newcastle were going to score. They did make it 1-1. Free kick from the left-hand side, cleared to an extent by Forest, but it gets recycled. And Lewis Hall's cross into the path of Miley, one touch on his right foot, great finish with his left foot. It goes through 3 or 4 legs, great finish. And Newcastle needed it, and Newcastle deserves to be 1-1 at that point.
Yeah, it was a good time to score when it was a 22nd, 23rd minute or something like that. Lewis Miley gets the ball in the box, he shifts it to his left foot. It's a good shot low down past Matt Sells, who was getting a bit of torment because he was time wasting. And then, ironically, when we were 4-1 up, he was trying to hurry one of the ball boys up, which was a bit funny.
Yeah.
But yeah, good for him. Got a start, he's got a goal. You never know, he might be an outside chance to keep his place on Wednesday night, depending if Tonali and Joe Little come in. But, he scored at the Gallagher. It's what a local lad stream is, isn't it? And it's a good type of score.
Yeah, great finish. Really underrated finish, if I'm being really honest. But just 2 minutes later, Newcastle turn it around completely. And it was a counter-attack movement. Forest did have a lot of moments in the first half, but they didn't really do a lot with it, apart from the goal that they scored. But Nick Pope gets the ball. And Forest, there's a lot of Forest players up. It actually leaves them 4-2 at one point. But you've got to give credit to Lewis Hall. He makes that goal just basically being smart about it. Little 1-2 as well on the left-hand side. Little back heel, if you like, but Hall motoring on. It was just, can you make the right decision? The shot gets a wicked deflection. I think it's off Murillo. But it kind of squirms over the line, and Jacob Murphy off his stomach, just about. Gets it over the line, and Newcastle 2-1 up, and I think deserved to be 2-1 up at that point.
Yeah, good turnaround. As I say, I think that 15-minute spell Newcastle was sensational. I think we were good in other parts of the first half, but that batch of 4 goals. But you could say it's a bit fortunate, but you've got to also earn you a bit of luck as well. Great play by Lewis Hall. I said he's clearly my man of the match, and you might say it's fortunate that it takes a massive deflection that falls in the chest of Murphy, whatever part of his body's come off, and Newcastle are 2-1 up and the crowd are bouncing.
They are, and just 5 minutes later, it was an interesting VAR decision. There's been numerous ones of them throughout the season, but this one I think is a bit more straightforward for them. I've had the benefit of seeing the replay at half-time. Lewis Hall cross, Aina, he's got his arm up high. I'm surprised it wasn't given live.
You've seen a lot of them. I mean, seen Aina a couple of times doing this. Bruno was also copying it when he went to VAR, didn't he? So it was a great view for me. Even I couldn't really tell because I didn't know whether to take his elbow or not. You didn't know it's a handball, is it not?
For me, it is a definite handball. I have to be honest. The longer that they are looking at it, they're probably thinking, we need the referee to have another look at this. And he goes over to the monitor, Jared Giller, gives the penalty, and he's again, Sells, and just Sells has done his homework. He was looking at his water bottle and his towel. And
what's Isak thinking there? Because he's kind of, it's not a Panenka, but it's like half a Panenka, isn't it?
Well, I think he's probably saw that. The thing is, I think strikers look at what goalkeepers do at penalties as well. I think it's a little bit of,
gamesmanship,
if you like. obviously Isak scored against Nottingham Forest in a penalty last season, but it was a different goalkeeper altogether. So it's a good penalty because it goes in the back of the net, but Sells almost does enough, but he was actually in the net with the ball. But it was 3-1 and maybe 3-1, you always feel that maybe we've dominated. I wouldn't go as far as saying that Forest were that bad, but Newcastle were being powerful, particularly down the left-hand side.
I think he's a bit fortunate to score the penalty. Not in terms of the decision, because I haven't seen it back, but as I say, Isak tries to do this like little side foot Panenka down the middle of the goal, and
it's almost like a Callum Wilson.
If he just stands there, he saves it, but because if he moves like this, you're then going backwards trying to catch the ball because it went quite high, and 3-1 up. And do you know what? At that stage, I thought it's nearly game over. It's 3-1. Yeah. If we score one more, that's it.
Technically, you're right. Technically, but it never felt like it.
Nine times out of 10 with 3-1 up, and you're thinking, blooming hell, this is great. This with 3-1 up against a Champions League rival, if you want to call it that.
Yeah, and at that point, he was thinking, right, can Newcastle, can I get a fourth before half time? We can get a fourth about 2 minutes later. A counter attack again. Nick Pope being involved with a big throw, and Isak on the end of a little pass from Willock. Lovely interplay between Willock and Hall. And Willock plays through Isak, takes a little bit of a nick, and which takes it over Matt Sells, and that was 4-1. And at that point, you're thinking, well, game over.
Do you know what? I didn't expect, this is how good Isak is, I didn't expect him to turn and hit it on his left because he's so predominantly right-footed. And it's just, I think what it did is just caught a couple of people out. I know I think it was Milenkovic just took the deflection off and it's looped over Sells because he was going backwards. But again, you've got to make your own luck. We've been a little bit fortunate with some of the goals. But can I just touch upon that back heel by Isak later as well, by the way? Oh my God, that was in the first half as well. That was absolutely sensational, his back heel. But we're 4-1 up, and then you're thinking, right, you're 4-1 up, we've won, it's comfortable now, let's enjoy the rest of the afternoon. We're coming up at half time, you've got, 5, 6, 7, 8 minutes to go, get it at half time, enjoy the afternoon, get a few fresh legs on, get Sula on, get Longstaff on, enjoy your afternoon, take the big boys off, rest them for Wednesday.
No, it didn't quite work out like that. I wanted it to be a nice, boring second half, a bit like the Arsenal game. Make it boring. Just, kill the game almost. But
definitely bored.
Yeah. I have to be honest. I felt Newcastle were trying to do exactly the same as they did against Arsenal in the second half of the Carabao Cup second leg. As soon as they went 2-0 up, they would go 4-0 aggregate. I think that's what they wanted to do. And they felt they could do the same. But Forest, to give credit to them, they didn't give up. I thought Elliot Anderson was an absolute pest today. I thought he was outstanding for Forest. He didn't deserve to be on a losing side, in my personal opinion.
Nice today. Clap off for him as well, wasn't
it? But they were getting, it was Forest that were getting more joy. And it was almost a case of when Nottingham Forest, and not if Nottingham Forest were going to score. And you almost have to say, the game management for that second half has to be questioned. I know Newcastle have won, and that is the most important thing. But by God, the amount of errors, the decision-making was horrendous in that second half.
Do you not think it's also the players because how sloppy was the passing? And that's not really down to Eddie Howe. Sure.
Dan Burn, Fabian Schär, Team Livramento, Lewis Miley. Bruno. There
was loads of them. There's 7 or 8 of them just giving the ball away. It's like we haven't put a string of passes together more than 3. And
why do you think mentally that's happened? Do you think they already think they won the game?
Possibly. I think Forest were a lot more aggressive in the press as well. In terms of little niggles and stuff and nicking the ball back, I think they were aggressive. But maybe you've just taken the foot off the gas a little bit. Is that terminology the right phrase I'm using? Yeah. Because you're kind of thinking in one mind, you're thinking we've won this game, just say it out. But God, it was awful. It was sloppy. It was dreadful, man. It was like City all out again.
It was.
And that's a bit worrying. Yes, we've got 3 points today, but we've shipped 7 goals in the last 2 games. And we've not played well in them.
No. And it was a case of if Forest were going to score and when were they going to score, and Newcastle got little time with defending, see it out, and just under half an hour Forest do make it 4-2. Corner from Elliot Anderson, header at the far post, and Milenkovic just nods it over, just toes it over the line, and that was 4-2, and that was game on. And you could see the Forest players could sniff something, they could smell it in the whole ground.
Loads of time
left. It was just a case, can Newcastle see it out? If anything, I thought we got worse as the half progressed.
And I also, you remember those 2 headers as well. I think was it Milenkovic as well?
Milenkovic, Marilla.
Yes, both of them just went wide. You're thinking, Christ, if one of those goes in so early on, because you're talking another 20-odd minutes to play, they could get a point, and it was like, again, I think we're fortunate that them 2 headers just go wide. I'm talking just wide as well.
Yeah, they were. The one from another corner, I think it was Murillo this time. I think the only thing I would say about that one, I think he doesn't expect the header. He almost gets his head there on the hope, on the half chance. But if that had gone in, you couldn't have complained about it. Forest were battering Newcastle. Newcastle did make a couple of changes. Harvey Barnes came on, Sandro Tonali came on. You're thinking, perfect, get Tonali on, just kind of, calm things down. It worked. Did it work? I don't actually think it did, did it?
It was basically keep going. It was the same. Newcastle thought. I think the subs were just there to try and freshen up to stop that, but it was still Forest coming down all the time.
It was, and it was, again, 70 minutes ago, 75 minutes ago, 80 minutes ago, and people still biting their fingernails at 4-2 with 2 goals. With the
It is Newcastle, isn't it?
It is Newcastle.
History tells you that.
I know. Callum Wilson comes on for the last few minutes, but again, a lot of free kicks given away, a lot of crosses being dealt with, and could Newcastle see it out? Well, on the 89th minute,
Wilson, by the way, needs to run up the corner flag. Yeah. And he's thinking of himself going for glory.
Yeah.
But run the corner flag, take the time out. He's tried to shoot a couple of times.
I'm going to copy your quote, typical Newcastle United. Don't win the game. Try and win the game 5-3 instead of trying to draw 4-4. Anyway, another corner, and then Newcastle just don't deal with it. I think Bruno loses his man Ryan Yates on the second attempt, puts it in the back of the net, and you're thinking, how long we got until injury time? Fortunately, just 3 minutes. But again, another set piece, and we don't deal with it, Lee.
Yeah, and it's got to be looked at in training, hasn't it? And you've only got really what? They'll probably
2 days training.
They'll probably be back here tomorrow. I don't think they'll probably do half a day tomorrow, half a day Tuesday, full day Tuesday, Wednesday. They might do half a day, then fly down. But they've got to look at that the next couple of days because it's alarming, and it's alarming like the way that we're playing as well. Because we can always go to City and get beat. We expect to get beat even now, even though we're a much better team. But the way that we lost last week was not acceptable.
No.
And today was signs of that hasn't massively improved. And Liverpool next, and you're worried, haven't you? But at that stage, 4-3, you're thinking, hurry up and blow the whistle.
Yeah, and I'm thinking 3 minutes. I'm thinking, I'm shocked at that. I didn't think it'd be loads. I didn't think it'd be the 7 in the first half. I thought it'd be about 5. But I thought 3 minutes we might just have enough time to just kind of say it out. But even then, Forest didn't have a chance in injury time after the score. They didn't have a chance, but crosses in the box, Newcastle just couldn't clear. It was a melee at one point, about 30 seconds from the end. A couple of times Callum Wilson got through.
The corner flag.
Yeah, Murillo got back and made it hard work, but Newcastle just got over the line. 3 points in the bag, and that is the most important thing in any football match. How do you work this one out, Eddie? Because I tell you what, it was tough to watch at the end, but there were some good bits as well. How did you make of that game today, Eddie?
I think a few things. I think great to win, and you have to remember that at the end. Obviously, we're disappointed with the second half. Crazy game, but that's why we love it, I suppose. 2 sides of us, really. The first half was excellent, a great response to going a goal down. I thought the first half performance, really, from start to finish, was very, very good. The second half was equally as bad, really. I think we were struggled to get to grips with the momentum when it turned against us. We're thankful to win. We're very pleased to win. We needed to win, and we're back in a good position. Yeah, I think you saw all the best of us in that first half. Yeah, but obviously my brain immediately goes to the second, and we know we've got things to work on. We know we're not perfect, but still very proud to manage the group of players that I have. The defending of set plays, the defending of crosses into our box. We've usually been very good with that in the last few years. Today, that was any time they put the ball in a box, we didn't look like we had the strength aerially to deal with it. So I think that's probably just on a snap reaction. That's what I would say.
An honest assessment from Eddie Howe following the 4-3 win over Nottingham Forest. Let's talk Yasser Al-Rumayyan making his trip from Saudi Arabia to Newcastle. Does that second half suggest that Newcastle United need to have a very, very good plan of what they're going to do in the summer? Because I'm not saying that, we did get away with it, but did that show the goods and the bad of Newcastle United today?
Look, I think, first of all, Yasser would love to spend, let's not kid ourselves. I think the PAF would love to go crazy and bring in the best players in the world. There's no shadow of a doubt about that. If the shackles were off, we would. But in terms of Yasser, I think even a couple of people next to me saying that when they found out that he was there, when I told them, said, is he here to bring in a new right winger? And we've talked about that. I mean, how many times the last 2 years, 3 years, 4 years on the channel? But he'll be here for a couple of days. He's got a few business meetings to go through. There's a lot of stuff on the pitch as well as off the pitch. What's happening to the stadium? Are we having a new one? Or is it going to be extended? But in terms of on the pitch, I think we will spend in the summer. I think that's a given because we've got 70 odd million dropping off. We've got obviously PSR we haven't spent for how long? For nearly 3 windows, if you not including Lewis Hall because he was already here. That deal was already done, but interesting off the pitch though.
I think that's the main reason. Look, you'd be happy that I say Newcastle won the game, and we'll talk about the Premier League table in a second. But
he'll be over for the final as well, won't he?
You'd like to think so. And look, it's a busy few weeks. It's a busy few months for Newcastle, but
There's a end now, isn't it?
yeah, we are on the business end. The bench was better in terms of the depth. We're still missing Joe Linton. We're still missing Botman, but you think they're only going to be about a week or two away. Obviously, Botman, there's a chance that you can make Liverpool the way they were talking about, or worst case scenario, Brighton in the FA Cup next Sunday. But I still think there's a couple of players in that team that, if they were to get injured, what have we got coming off the bench?
I know, because it's the cup final. I think Botman will need to play some minutes against Brighton. I think if he's going to start the final. But then again, I mean, we can talk about the final. Is he going to play 5 at the back? I don't know, but I think Joe Linton will play the final. I think he also needs, if he's ready for midweek, great. If you can give him half an hour, 45 minutes, fantastic, and play him on next Brighton. But we're only 1 or 2 injuries away from a crisis, aren't we? Because if you take out Bruno and you take out Isak,
Tonali.
Liverpool not so much the same. If they take out Salah, they've got Jota. Yes, not the same caliber, but still, Jota can grab you 20 goals.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we are 1 or 2 away, but we can't think like that, can we?
No, definitely not. We'll talk about man of the match in a second, but this is the Premier League table. Newcastle Forest is the only game that have kicked off now. Obviously, we don't know what's happening between Manchester City and Liverpool, so we're not going to go too much into that. But we are 5th. We're on the same points at the minute as Man City, with 3 points behind Forest. There's 3 or 4 teams behind that are right breathing down the neck of Newcastle United. But if you're 5th place this season, there's a 99.5% chance that you're going to be in the Champions League according to the way the UEFA rankings are working. Have Newcastle United got enough about them from what you've seen this season to stay in that top 5?
First of all, if we got beat today, we're not catching Forest. 9 points at this stage of the season with what? How many games are left? 12
games.
That's not happening. So a win today was very important. The performance has been a little bit worrying the last 3 or 4 games, considering we went on an absolute rampage of winning 9 in a row. We could have had the record, but there is signs there that we're like Jekyll and Hyde, aren't we? You don't know which Newcastle's going to turn up. It's a bit like Arsenal at the minute, even though Arsenal are second or third?
Second, yeah.
Yeah, and it's like, which Newcastle side turns up today? Are we going to blast this team 4-0 or we're going to get beat 1-0 at home? So that has to improve, and I think it's a tough one because we've all got one eye on the final, haven't we? And it's,
you know, it is.
And it could be a disastrous couple of weeks, because if we lose to Liverpool, because Brighton done well earlier this season, we could go out the FA Cup and then lose the final. We need to snap out of this. We need to start playing better. Do you know what it is? I'm not happy. I'm okay with having a defeat on Wednesday night as long as the performances and the attitude of the players is much better, because that's progress in my eyes. Because are we expecting anything really?
But the thing is, I think we need to change the mentality. We can't be going...
We need to see us change, though, Johnny.
Because
if we get... Do you know what? I'm driving down there. I'm not getting home 3 or 4 in the morning. Do you know what? I come away from there. Like I did in Man City, I left them blind in the car. But if I come away from the ground and think, do you know what? We got beat today, but we put a lot of effort in, put a lot of heart in. The performances were better. Great. Let's kick on. We can take the positives, put that in Brighton.
Look, I'm not disagreeing with you, but I think there needs to be... Because that is the Newcastle United way. You work hard, we'll clap you off. Win, draw, or lose. And that's happened. That's happened plenty of times. I think we just need to change the mindset a little bit, because we've got some good players in this team. Look,
Liverpool are scared.
Liverpool's going to be very, very difficult, but Anfield's always been a difficult test for every team. Not many teams. Only Forest, ironically, have won at Anfield this season in the Premier League. So, look, I appreciate that, but if Newcastle can play like they can, there's no reason why Newcastle can't get a result if they play at their best, and Liverpool are slightly off it.
Big few weeks in the Greenwood household, isn't it?
Yeah, just the
Sunderland struggling, Liverpool fan in there, Newcastle fan in there. God, I
know, interesting indeed. Liverpool on Wednesday, Brighton on Sunday. It's a big week. Do you expect any changes in midweek?
It depends what Eddie's thinking. Is he thinking, right, it's Liverpool? Are we really expecting? I wouldn't be surprised if Wilson starts one of the next 2 games either.
I'm expecting Wilson to start against Brighton.
Dubravka might start the Brighton game. Pope will start Wednesday. Shout it out.
I think Pope starts every single game though.
Depending on Joe Linton's injury. Longstaff hasn't had a kick for a long time. He might start the Brighton game. But for Wednesday, I don't see many. Possibly 2 at the most. It's probably the midfield.
Yeah, it'll be very, very interesting to see what happens. Finally, back on the Forest game. You mentioned Lewis Hall. Why was he man of the match today?
Oh. Do you know, he had a bit of dip in form recently, but he's come back today absolutely brilliant. I know we've conceded 3, but I can't really, they're all nothing to do with him, to be fair. Just his attacking going forward, he's defending, his interceptions, he's just awareness of what's around him now. For me, he's England's first choice left back, and then probably Lewis Skelly might put him close in the next 5 to 10 years. Like there's your 2 England left backs for me, but he was absolutely sensational. And I like the fact that now he's been in the team. I don't know if you spotted this. He scored with Pope, telling Pope for some of the goal kicks as well, and that's a sign of maturity, experience, maturity. That he's got. You can have a voice in the team. Doesn't have to be so quiet because he comes across as very humble, very shy lad. But I like that. So hopefully see more of it.
Yeah, hopefully. I agree. Yeah, I agree, actually. I would have given it to Miley, but I didn't think his second half was as strong as his first half. I would have given it to Willock, but I don't think he's a second
Much better from Joe Willock, I must say.
Much better.
And it's good to see because he's another one who's dipped up and down. And as long as he stays fit, I think we've got a play on there.
Yeah, I agree. Isak with 2 goals. Like, that just speaks volumes.
Bread and butter, innit? And he moves ahead of Wood in the table, the charts.
Yeah, I think he's on 8-19, maybe the same as Wood. I don't know. Who knows? Let us know in the comments. But yeah, Lewis Hall gets my man of the match. I think the good thing was he did show maturity at stages. Look, he had a tough afternoon with the wingers that he was up against. Hudson-Odoi, Alanga, they're good players. They're really, really good players. But look, I think he is by far the most improved player under Eddie Howe this season by a country mile.
So young.
Yeah, so
mad,
young.
isn't it?
It's a steal from Chelsea, an absolute steal.
And they were laughing at me about that transfer as well.
I don't think they were laughing about the fact that they were losing Lewis Hall, but I think the money side of it, they were like, I'm not too sure on that. They'll not be saying that anymore.
Yeah, he's worth double that now.
A busy week, as we've mentioned. Lee will be at Liverpool. He'll be at Anfield for the preview of the cup final, if you like, in the Premier League.
Can I give them a little exclusive?
Go on.
They'll see me on the overlap this week as well.
Oh, really?
We will indeed. Johnny didn't even know that either.
There you go.
Yes, I'm going down to film Monday, so that'll be tomorrow. So they're putting it out in a couple of days' time.
Well, there you go.
So stay tuned for that.
You have to give Carragher some information about the fact that it might not be all straightforward for Liverpool.
As long as they didn't talk about Isak all the time, because I've seen the last couple of shows and yeah, they keep talking about Isak. I'm not having that, so I'll have my say on that.
Yeah, stand your ground, Lola. Yeah, so you make sure you keep an eye out for that on the overlap. There'll be a 10-minute clip from Newcastle Fans TV as well. I'm sure that's what we get. So make sure you keep an eye out for that as well this week. And then Anfield on Wednesday, and then Brighton at St James's Park in the FA Cup. So plenty of videos. Joe will be doing some women's stuff next Sunday as well.
Joe's doing the Debs today.
Yeah.
And then Joe, Dale and Juliet will be at the women's match next Sunday.
Yes, big game. Newcastle take on Bristol City. So hopefully Newcastle can get back to winning ways after a 3-week break, which I'm sure Becky Langley didn't really want, but I'm sure she'll be happy to get back into the routine of games. I think we'll call it a day. It's been an interesting afternoon at St James's Park.
Just happy you've got 3 points.
Yeah.
That's it.
If someone said this is what's going to happen, well, I'll take that.
Let me ask you, we'll end the video on this. Would you rather play well and get beat? Or would you rather play bad and win?
Give me a win every single day of the week and twice on a Sunday.
Yeah, you got your Sunday dinner.
I got my Sunday dinner to go back.
Looking for some.
Definitely so. Well, make sure you comment on the video. Tell us who your man of the match was. Do you agree with Lee and I about Lewis Hall? And what changes would you make for Wednesday against table-topping Liverpool at Anfield? Doesn't get much harder than that. Like this video and subscribe to Newcastle Fans TV, and we'll see you all very soon.